Hey there guys and gals and wonderful YouTubers. Welcome guys, and today we are jumping into Sid Meier's Civilization 6. So yeah, decided to give this a go. It's been about a month or so, roughly about a month since it's been released. Decided to give it a go. I was a little reluctant to give this a try because usually when these civilizations come out in the beginning, they get a little bit of bad reviews, and that's usually because there's usually some content kind of missing from the game, a little bit of bugs that need to be fixed. And that seemed to be the case with Civilization 5 when that first came out. There was a lot of bad reviews with that, but eventually after the DLCs came out, Gods and Kings and Brave New World and some other patches and whatnot, that game came out to be pretty phenomenal. So I said, you know what, I'm not gonna, from the history's past, from what I learned with Civ 5, I said, you know, I'm gonna go ahead and give this a go, and it'll eventually just get better, and I am liking it so far. So before we get to start, we're not going to be completely doing a vanilla. I'm going to be using a few mods, and they're basically just quality of life mods, and we'll show you those when we get in game and show you what those are about. And they're mostly stuff that's kind of missing from the user interface pretty much. But the first one you're going to see right now, which is Sieve Selection screen mod. So when we go here to create a new game here, and we go to Civilization, this is basically the mod. It gives you a little bit more information on stuff here. And if you guys are not too familiar what the vanilla looks like, let's actually, with the magic of YouTube, let's show you what that looks like. Alrighty, so with the magic of YouTube and audio or video editing, we are back here. So this is what the choose civilization random or leader screen looks like. This is the default. Now, a lot of people didn't really like this because it's a little confusing as compared to Civ 5, where Civ 5 kind of gave you a little bit better breakdown. And that is why I'm using the Sieve Selection screen, version 3.0, which is a really nice breakdown of everything. You could still use this. It kind of makes sense if you just go over and look at it. But usually when you want to go through and compare civilizations and what their bonuses are, you kind of want to just go down really quick. But here you can't really do too much. You have to come over here and check out everything. So yep, this is what this looks like, vanilla, and we will be right back with the mod right back installed. Alrighty, we're back once again. So all my mods that I'm going to be using, the few mods I'm going to be using, obviously the links are going to be down below in the description. Most of them should be pretty easy to install. Put them in the mod folder and they should be good to go, and then just enable them. We'll see that when we start up a game. But Sieve Selection screen, you kind of have to like replace some files and just make sure you back up the other ones. But when you download that mod, if you're going to use that, basically follow directions, and they give you a lot of information on that. So before we go and pick our Civ, let's go into game options and show you what I kind of have set up if you guys are interested. I think mostly everything is defaulted here. I have advisors new to Civ 6, which I'm kind of new with some of the stuff there. There's actually a pretty interesting feature here, animated time of day, which gives you, if you click this on here, it'll set up like a day-night cycle throughout your game, which is pretty nice. But for YouTube purposes, we're going to leave it default, and this is basically the time of day. It's going to show all the time here. Graphics, audio, I don't think you need to see anything else. Interface, yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Yeah, so let's go ahead and jump in here. So I was kind of in between about 3 or 4 different civs that I want to do for this YouTube video. So let's go ahead and create game. We're gonna do map size standard. We're gonna do everything standard. Map size standard is basically your standard. Continents is kind of your standard map type. Game speed standard. Prince is your like normal difficulty. So we're gonna do everything normal right now. We're not gonna do advanced setup. Choose civilization. So I was kind of in between going with, where are we here? Norway, Nor. He looks pretty decent here. And I was actually going in between, what was the other ones? America as a pretty much default, a little bit simple, basic playthrough with these guys here. Looks like they earn all government legacy bonuses half the usual time. They get a P-51 Mustang as their special air unit. And then they get like a film studio, which is a building unit to America, tourism pressure from the city towards other civilization in the modern era. So, and then my other guy here, which I was really going to go with Norway, but they're really good with coastal stuff and doing a lot of coastal raids. And right off the bat, they get a lot of their units are able to like cross water and deep water right away. So I'll probably say that for another time. So I said, you know what, let's go with one of Earth's earliest civilization, the Sumerians. So we're gonna go with Gilgamesh here. So they get, when you capture barbarian outposts, you receive a tribal village reward in addition to the usual gold. Pay half the usual cost to levy city-state units. You actually get a war cart. Sumerian's unique ancient era unit, stronger than all the other starting units. No penalties against any cavalries. For movement if this unit starts in open terrain. And ziggurat, unlock the builder ability to construct ziggurat, unique to Sumeria. +2 science, +1 culture, next to a river, cannot build on hills. And he may declare war on anyone. May declare war on anyone at war with their allies without warmonger. That's pretty good. When at war with common foe, they and their allies will share pillage rewards and share combat experience if gained within 5 tiles. So if you played another Civ and you're on the continent or had Gilgamesh as a neighbor, it would be really smart to befriend him and be allies with him eventually. Sounds like a pretty good way to go here. So do we just create game up here? Everything's set up right. Hopefully this works. I haven't tried this. Oh, I think I have to select this here and then it starts. Yep, there we go. So let's go, and I think I have to add in some other mods. Let's actually go back here. I forgot to enable a couple of mods. I forgot we have to go way back here. So we're going to actually add production queue, and I'll talk about this in game, and then we're going to use unit report screens, and we'll talk about that in game when we actually need to use that. And I have 2 other mods installed which I'm not going to use yet, which is Better Trade Screen and Divine Yours Custom City Panels. We might mess with that later on. But the thing with mods, when you enable them, they're binded to that save file. So like later on, if you're playing a save game, you can't add any other mods in. So when we start with these 2 mods, this is all we're going to be able to use, the production queue and unit report screen. So yeah, let's go ahead. That is all set. And we're going to have to go back create game here again. So to make sure that was all set here. Let's go with Sumeria, Gilgamesh, Prince, Standard, Continents, Normal. Let's start game here.
From the first stirrings of life beneath water to the great beasts
Old
of the
Mr.
Stone
Sean
Age,
Bean.
to man taking his first
Now he's got a pretty good voice for this. Not as epic as it was in Civ 4 with Leonard Nimoy. And I was actually thinking today, you know, would have been pretty awesome is either like Patrick Stewart would have been pretty good for this. Or Gandalf from Lord of the Rings. But I'm sure those guys weren't available.
The weight of the world will never cause you to waver. Encourage the people of Sumer to settle the fertile lands along rivers.
Let him finish. I know I keep interrupting him.
For there will be many vying for a piece of your strength. Venture forth, for it is time to begin.
Venture forth. Let's begin your epic tale. Yes, let's do this, Gilgamesh. Hopefully we got a good start. What do we got here? Coastal. Yes, that's pretty good. Alright, looks like we got... Looks like stone, truffles, got some rice, got some copper. Mountains here, these are really nice. We're right along the river. So this is actually a good start. Let me hit my yield icons. I usually use the Y key, or you guys can actually go through here and show yield icons. I usually do this in the beginning. It kind of helps me out a little bit to see items. So let's go ahead. Let me just swing him around. Maybe there's something up here. Oh, field of view is blocked here. We'll just go ahead and settle. You rock. Alright. Well, now let's go ahead. Choose research. What do we got bias that we really need to get into first? Requires mining. Which we should probably do that first. Pottery. Let's open a tech tree. That get us into 2+2 housing, which is good. Oh, there's also another area. I didn't show you that. It's usually good to settle by the water and rivers, which is a thing that was in Civ 5, but in Civ 6 it's also a lot bigger because there's a thing called housing now, which helps increase your culture or your civs in your city. And that's how it works. So either pottery or mining. We'll actually go with mining, and then we will jump into, let's actually queue this up here. Hit the shift here and then do pottery. So now for production, probably gonna go with a slinger first. Ooh, work hard. What's that? Sumerian ancient stronger. Oh, you get that right away? I'm gonna go with slinger first. It takes less time. And then now you see the production queue here. That's the mod that I'm using. Normally in Civ 5 you can queue up a lot of stuff in production, but somehow they removed that or just didn't include it in Civ 6, which is kind of sucky because I really like that. So we're going to add a builder in there so it queues it up. And alright, let's go ahead and hit next turn. Now I'm really enjoying this quite a bit. There's a lot of stuff that is pretty similar to your other Civ games, but there's quite a bit of different stuff in here, which is really nice. Especially the way the barbarians work. I love the barbarians. They're more intelligent, I think, to a certain degree, comparable to Civ 5. They're not just some stupid little guy who just kind of harasses you. They'll actually send out their scouts, and if their scouts spot you, they'll go back to their camp, and then they can spawn in a group of barbarians that will attack you. Now the thing with them, now you got to watch out with, is if they're near a horses, they can actually spawn in mounted units, and that can make it a lot harder for you to defend yourself. Now we got these Eureka Moments, and this is something different here. And I'll show you, I'll talk a little bit about that when we, well, there's some tribal village bonus stuff here. So normally if you go into like your tech tree, you're going to notice these little things here on the bottom. If you notice, it says boost. Those are your Eurekas. And basically there's different requirements for them. Some things, it could be like sailing. All you have to do is found a city by a coast. And what that does is it'll basically trigger the boost. And what that does, it'll fill in half their research bar for you. So basically it'll reduce the time, half the time you have to research that, which is pretty awesome. There's a lot of different ones, like this one is meet another civilization, and you get that boost, the half. So I really like those boosts and Eurekas in the game. So let's keep going to next turn. Not much going on. New continent discovered, which is where? And hopefully we won't have too much issues with barbarians right off the bat. Normally what I do in the beginning is use my scouts to scout kind of around the perimeter of my first city. And another new thing are these civics here. And this is kind of another area you gotta kind of research. And this one kind of starts all by itself. And once this unlocks, I'll show you how this works. And they're just like these bonus cards that you can place. Let's see here. I don't have the... Yeah, I don't have it. But once it unlocks, we'll talk about that. And then there's like these great people, which it was around in Civ 5, but they kind of mysteriously appear in your town and you didn't have any real control. Here you can actually kind of recruit any one that you need. Depends on if you have the requirements to actually purchase them. Some of them get purchased by the gold here or your faith. But there's also kind of who's first in line to purchase them. So everyone's kind of like, you see here, there's Sumerian, I'm up here on top, and then there's all the other players in game. So these bars will eventually fill up by doing certain things towards different things in the game that kind of stimulate some of these great people, and then your bar will fill up and you'll become kind of first in line to actually purchase them, and then the other guys will have different bars. So it's kind of interesting how that works, and I really kind of like that. We seem to have a lot more control now in Civ 6. Now I don't really have much complaints about Civ 6. What a lot of people have been complaining about right now, and I'm actually running after the fall patch, which kind of fixed a little bit of the AI, but a lot of people were complaining that the AI is a little bit too easy, kind of dumb, which at the moment I'm really new at it, so it doesn't really bother me too much. Probably only played about 9 hours of the game before recording this, so the only thing that's really bothering me right now, there's just some things in the game that are just not, mostly UI, user interface stuff that's just kind of missing, especially with the production queue. And then the other one I brought up, the unit report screen. Normally default, you'll just have like a couple of these things. But what the unit report screen does, it'll actually show our units, and then we can kind of like go find them on the map. Now let me show you how they do it stock wise. Normally you would select your unit, and there would be this you would click right here. Not a lot of people knows about this. You click the warrior and it would bring up a bunch of lists. So any unit you have, you just kind of click it and it'll bring up a list, and it's not very detailed of what unit is what. So that's kind of a way you can kind of find that unit, which is really weird. So it looks like there's milk over there.
When you find yourself in a hole, quit digging.
Alright, we got mining. Oh, we got our slingers. Awesome. Let's go out a little bit with these guys. I want to keep these guys kind of by the main city here. So far, I haven't seen any barbarians, which is good, but doesn't mean they can spawn. Doesn't mean they can't spawn in near us. It just doesn't. It just means there's none near us right now, which is a good thing. So it'll buy us a little bit of time. And I'll bring these guys back because you never know. There could be barbarians in there and they can come down here and harass us. So, actually, I think I'm gonna leave. Yeah, we're looking good so far. Got 8 turns. So let's see what is being worked right now. Looks like they're working this area, which has 3 gold, 1 production, and 2 food, that's a really good one to work on. And then there's 2 food here. And then you can actually, before in Civ 5, you can actually just kind of select which one you want to go in and lock them or whatever. There's kind of a new feature. I think this was kind of in Civ 5, but you had to dig for it. Here you can just kind of set what you want them to do. Like if you want them to do food, just click here. And then that'll turn it off. And then you can go over here and just do production, which is I think they're doing right now. So you can kind of get the idea of what these are. And this is kind of the quicker way than kind of manually doing it. But they give you the option to do either or. So 10 turns till the border grows there. Let me go check in this tab. Housing's important here. This is your population growth rate. I kind of mentioned this early on. You kind of want to have double housing of what your citizens are to have a good growth. So you typically don't want to have 2 citizens and 3 houses. It'll kind of grow really slow. You typically want to have double that. So if you have 2 citizens, you kind of want to have 4 housing. But early on, right now, we're doing pretty good. There's obviously 6 houses. So everything's doing good. Citizens, 8 turns to until they grow. So yeah, there's all kinds of options here. Purchase tiles, obviously. Purchase item with gold. I can't see anything over there. That thing doesn't slide over. Purchase item with faith. Change production. So let's go ahead and do next turn. I think I'm about ready to bring some of these guys back. We must be on a really big continent here. I'm not really seeing much. It's very strange I haven't ran into another city-state or another civ right now. This appears to be, I appear to be on one of the big continents. Oh, there is, oh geez. Yep, there's barbarians, and there's a scout. So he's definitely going to see us. We better start sending these guys back. They're going to give us trouble. I'm gonna swing these guys around a little bit. There seems to be a desert there. So usually when they kind of detect you, you get an exclamation mark, and they usually detect you when they actually see your city. I don't think they really detect you if they see your borders. So I think we are good for right now, but where there are, that scout's gonna eventually come here and see our city. Let me go ahead and do save really quick. Totally forgot to do that. Yes, let's bring these dudes back. I'm gonna save the exploration for the scout when I make one.
Ave viator, Augusta e Roma imperator Caesar Traianus sum. Quis est?
Romans.
Quae
Good.
terra patria vocas.
Awesome. So, hi stranger, would you like to visit? Yes, you can visit our hospitality. So we get that Eureka for meeting the first civilized.
Enacting new policies in our government
oh my
can
goodness,
be of
lady.
great benefit.
Yes, we got the Eureka for meeting another civilization, which boosted us. Awesome. Which boosted whatever that was.
But authority that makes a law.
Which was, let me see what that was. I think we got a boost in. Yeah, writing. So now we can need to research a civic here. Joint war, maritime industries, probably foreign trade. And we need to fill this policy slot here. Now we got different ones. You start out with the first two, and eventually throughout the game you'll unlock more of these slots will open up. But right now we got one military and one economic. And then from those research that we do of all these different civic researches here, all these are cards we get, and some of these are just other things, are just different bonuses. And where is it? And these are the cards that we have available. So we're going to do +5 units combat strength when fighting barbarians, and +1 faith and +1 gold in the capital. Yeah, we can do that. And then just hit confirm. Now the other options we don't have yet. We can change our government, but that comes later when we unlock certain things. So let's go ahead and do next turn. Now when you see a scout, best thing to do, yep, he spotted us, he's going back, is to try to kill him as soon as possible. But some cases you cannot do it that easy. There's a lot of good spots here to have another city. Probably right here would be another good spot here. Probably over here. So we got a lot of areas for expansion over here too. Probably gonna start sending them over here. So what do we got here? Put these guys right there. So we should start seeing barbarian waves come.
I thought clay must feel happy in the good potter's hand.
Good potter's hand. Pottery. So now what can we research now? I think we already had. I thought we were. Oh wait, we don't have any. Actually, we needed to go animal husbandry because we got that truffles. I didn't even think about that. And you're gonna just sit there and guard, buddy. Now, there is other options here. All you have to do is hit the plus sign here and you can have your automatic, you can have them explore or delete units. So if you don't see any other things, like especially the automated exploration, that's where it's at. So we're gonna have them fortify. Let's bring these slingers up. Have sent a trade delegation, enjoy blah, 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 the finest salt sheet you ever had. Oh, okay. Sure, come on in. Maybe you'll help me with the barbarians. Now, when we find a city-state, we'll actually talk about them. I really love how the city-states work now in here. In Civ 5, you kind of had to do things for them, and then their friendship bar would come out. But if you kind of ignored them after a while, the friendship bar would come down, and you would have to kind of start over. They would kind of go back to neutral or whatever. Here, if you use envoys, they kind of stay at that level of friendship. So here they come here. So the city-states work really well now. So let's see how we're going to do this. Let's go ahead and put a mine here. Oh, I could have done... I'm actually interested what that is. Cigarette. Oh, that actually gives you +2 science. That's actually pretty cool. So we got a boost there. Awesome. Now, yeah, the workers now, they're limited. So I think you start with 3 of them. Now 2 are there. And when you build an improvement, it doesn't take like in Civ 5 where it takes a few turns for different ones. They kind of instantaneously get used up, which is really nice. But like I said, they're limited to like 3. And repairs, I think, are free. So it's actually, yeah, it's a kind of a different tactic now, the way they work. Let's go ahead and do production here. We're about to do, I think we're going to do monument. And now you see this little area here is like city center. These buildings here, when we do them, are going to be made inside of our first city here. You're going to get different ones over time when you have your different districts. And with each district, you're going to have different buildings you can actually build inside the districts to give additional bonuses. So yeah, there is a lot of additional bonuses that you can do in this game. There's just a lot more to do that kind of keeps you busy. We're doing pretty good in gold. So let's... Oh, they spotted us again. He's going back. He's going to bring some more barbarians. We're going to have to deal with these guys. So I'm going to have to get into military right away. Now the good thing, there's no horses. So they're just regular units like myself here. These are slingers. Really nice early game ranged units, which can be upgraded to archers later on, which is really cool. Alright, so... yeah, I don't want to send them over there. So what are the options for us there? So yeah, we're going to need another set of military units to take care of these barbarians. We'll go one more turn here, guys, and then we'll end the episode. Looks like he got messed up pretty good. Now one thing to note, like in Civ 5, your cities used to be able to fire on these. Anyone that come within like 2 tiles. Now they don't do that. But the cool thing is, barbarians won't attack your cities, so you can put them units in here and they should be okay. And the cool thing is, we can kind of stack these units in here if we need the extra protection. Let's actually attack these guys. These guys are going to probably most likely kill us, because these are pikemen. Alrighty. Oh, we got something there. So with that said, guys, we're actually going to end this episode here. So hopefully you liked Civ 6 here with the Sumerian. So if you do, definitely hit that like button. And if you're new to the channel, definitely subscribe, because we want to keep you around here and have you see some more of this Civ 6 action here. So alrighty guys, you take care out there, and we'll definitely see you next time. Bye bye guys.